I ran out of time in part one. Let's see how I do in part two, sharing with you some recent makes I've created over the past, I'd say 4 to 6 months or so. Stay tuned, I'm about to break it all down. And welcome back to Dine in Creativity. I am Rachel Ann, and I'm so glad that you're here. If you're new, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much. This is my sewing channel dedicated fully to my sewing journey, the highs, the lows, what I don't know, what I've learned, and everything in between. So thanks so much for being here. Also just want to say thank you so much to everyone who commented on my last video, part one. You all really showed up, showed out, gave me so much great feedback and information. The overarching feedback was a resounding yes, that a serger is absolutely worth it. So I have banked that away. I'm gonna start researching some different sergers and go from there. But thank you for sharing that. I figured that that may have been the response, but it was so nice just to get the affirmative yes, that it would be a great call to invest in one. This is a shirt also, by the way, before I get started with today's makes. I shared this in the last video, but I just wanted to wear it for you today, just so you could just have a quick reference. Again, I made a top version of this McCall's pattern, 7946. Just wanted to throw that in there really quickly, but I would highly recommend this pattern. Super easy to make modifications. If you want to see kind of the full scope and hear about it, feel free to watch part one. You don't need to watch these videos in any particular order. They're pretty much interchangeable. Today's just my follow-up to part one because I ran out of time to share with you all of my new makes. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Who doesn't love a pair of dreamy, flowy linen pants? Maybe that's just my dream, but I love anything linen. There is just such a gorgeous quality to it. And I successfully sewed really one of my first pair of pants outside of sweatpants that I wore out of the house. I've had some trial runs on pants that weren't the most successful, but these were a hit. I am so happy with them, and they were just so much fun to make. The pattern I used, my trusty New Look 6678 pattern. I did not use the top. You've heard me talk about the top so much. I actually used the pants pattern. Now for these, I wanted them to be an exaggerated flowy pant. So I actually sized up one. I'm usually a 12. I believe I cut a 14, maybe a 16, because what I wanted to do was create the linen flat front pants where there was the elastic in the back. I love that multi-tiered elastic look. So I put 4 pieces of elastic on the back, looped them. I really deviated a lot from this pattern. There was a side zip, to install. And so I did install this side zip, but in terms of adding on that elastic back and then just the fit of them, as you can see, they fit her a little bit flowy. I wanted it to be even more exaggerated. So these were ones when I got done, I thought to myself, they look kind of weird on me, but I'm just gonna give it a go. I think because I don't really own a lot of flowy wide leg pants. But this was, it's just amazing. When you create something, we can be so hard on ourselves. But I went to an event and had these on. And I'll tell you what, I had several people come up to me and say, where did you get those pants? I love them. I was shocked. It always makes you feel good when somebody compliments something that you've made. But I was really surprised because in my mind, I was thinking, they're kind of weird, but I like them, so I'm just gonna wear them. So it was nice to hear that feedback and just an encouragement. Wear what you sew, especially if you love it. That's all that matters. This dreamy linen fabric, I'll take a moment to show you that. Isn't it just gorgeous? Got the sunlight on it right now. I found the best local fabric store. It's a couple cities away, but I have searched high and low for local fabric stores and I found my place. I still have quite a bit of fabric left over. after making these pants. I got extra, which I'm so glad I did. And so I'm just kind of holding on to that to wait and see what will kind of come to my mind to make out of that fabric. Just to close out this first make, I would highly recommend this particular pants pattern. Very straightforward, very simple to modify. If you size up because you want that exaggerated look, it is very simple to then throw in, you know, your elastic on the back and make sure to sew your side zip in. But overall, it was just a great pattern to work with. The suggestion that a lovely viewer gave me a while back after my pants splitting episode on an airplane when I was flying, I had sewn these joggers and they split right down the back. I had to wear them the whole day. But the lovely suggestion was to sew the inside with a zigzag stitch. That has made all the difference, because when I wore these, I was nervous because once you leave the house, you leave the house. I wasn't bringing an extra pair of pants with me. They held up great. They washed up lovely. And you know, linen is just such a gorgeous, beautiful fabric. So highly recommend that pants pattern. Let's take it back to the 1960s. I went to simplicity.com and I found this adorable pattern, so retro, just so cute. I immediately was drawn to it and I decided to sew up view 3. They are numbered. This was an extremely simple pattern. It is rated very easy, and that it is. Essentially, there are 2 pieces to this entire pattern. I'm sorry, there are 3. There are the sleeves and then the front and back of the dress. However, let me just share with you, I, by necessity, had to make a major modification because I didn't have enough fabric. I decided to create this cute little shift dress, make it so that it has the mock neck turtleneck and then that nice dramatic edging, you know, kind of right down the side, that triangle top / turtleneck style. It has the darts in the front, darts at the bust, and then darts at the back. And it's amazing. Oh, and I'm sorry, just a long zipper, I believe 24-inch on the back. Once you start putting the darts in, it is amazing how garments completely shift their shape and you really start to see it come out. But I found this fabric and I only had a limited amount. I had been holding on for it for months upon months. I had found it back when I was living in Virginia at my local thrift store. And it's the real deal. I mean, this was probably from someone's sewing collection that they never got around to sewing, or maybe it was a scrap that they had, but it is that true retro kind of, I don't know if it's polyester, but that retro material that they probably made, you know, bell bottoms with, those loose fitting bell bottoms or something of that nature. But when I saw that pattern and had this fabric, this beautiful kind of semi-structured look, I said those are the 2 pieces, the fabric and the pattern, that are going to go great together. Again, like I said, I ran out of material for the sleeves. There was no way. I tried multiple ways to make it work. It was not happening, but I figured this is going to be a perfect little dress to just throw on in the summer and go. So many ways that you can modify it. Again, you know me, I think it goes without saying, I did all my rolled hems. Until I invest in my serger, I'll continue to do rolled hems. I'm not rolled hems, French seams, rolled hems, you know, on the arms. And I kind of did something a little bit different with the neckline. I basically just zigzag stitched it. And then because this fabric, the way it lays around my neck, I did not want to sew around. I just wanted it to have that nice clean edge. So I just, you know, used an iron, pressed it down, and I feel like that's what I'll just continue to do even after washing it if it unrolls. I reinforced it on the side though, so it's pretty much sewn in place, but just a little modification I decided to make for this cute dress. But overall, this took maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. The hardest part for me was figuring out omitting the sleeves, what that would do to the overall pattern, but it was very straightforward. So I would highly, highly recommend this Simplicity 9845 pattern. Super cute, especially if you're into retro like I am. All right, I'm gonna share with you my newest pride and joy. Let's just take in this fun, carefree print. I found this fabric again at that little local fabric store a couple cities away from me and fell in love. It's just so drapey, so easy breezy. And who doesn't love a racerback tank dress, especially in those cool months? This is a maxi dress, and I'll put up, you know, a full length photo for you. But don't you love those colors? I am a sucker for coral, hot pink, white, just great color combination with this one. Believe it or not, I found this retro pattern, Very Easy Very Vogue, and this is 9242. I am not sure if this is still being printed, but if it is, I would highly recommend it. Of course, I made some modifications to this particular pattern that I happened to stumble upon at a thrift store. A girlfriend of mine and I went for a couple hours to Ventura Main Street. If you're familiar with that area, there's a row of all these great little shops, and she loves to thrift. I do too. You never know what you're gonna find. One of those thrift stores had an entire sewing section. I was in heaven. So I scooped up several different patterns. I will be showing some of those to you in my next video, but I saw this, immediately had to have it. It just has that retro, carefree, easygoing vibe that I am just so into right now. So this was definitely fun to work with. To my delight, all of the pattern pieces were intact. In fact, I don't even think this one had been cut. So I thought that was just so sweet that they were all intact, and I loved that there was that complete sewing section. So the modifications that I made in the original pattern, it just calls for these two pieces, the top and the bottom, to be sewn together, straight stitch. I noticed, and I started really thinking about it, I wanted to have an elastic waistband for comfort. I noticed that when the top and the bottom were sewn, it would have been a little big on me, and I really wanted it, like I talked about in that last video, for me, things look better if they're cinched at the smallest part of my waist. I was trying to stand up so I could show you, but that's not gonna work. And so I wanted to go ahead and create that. I realized that the elastic, it looks a little funky the way I sewed it in. But I am going to belt this dress. I have a super cute white-ish, creamish braided belt that I'm gonna use to even cinch that waist in further. But it certainly helps with the comfort level when the elastic is in place. That's my personal preference, but that was a fairly straightforward modification to make. The only other construction issue I came across with this pattern, just to let you know, the armholes ended up being way too big. It would definitely cut down, and it showed my brassiere, and I didn't want that happening. I tried several things to bring it up to make it come up higher. I feel like I need that record scratch sound effect here because I figured it out. I know what I need to do. I don't think I actually did try everything I could think of because I am going to put darts right here, and that's gonna solve this problem. I've been wearing this pink undershirt, but this is it. I have a cardigan today too, but this is gonna take care of my extra large armholes. So if in doubt, take a break from the project. You know how when you get so wrapped up in something and it consumes you that you cannot see the forest through the trees, or that expression? that's what happened. The sunlight through the trees. That is what happened with me in this dress. I'm very excited about it. I'm having to edit this in right now because as soon as I get home, I'm in my office right now, I am going to sew this so that it takes out the extra large armholes. I'll keep you updated, but for now you get to see what the overall dress looks like. But that's just something for you to consider. It may be different when you make it. Maybe you'll find that you're able to get those armholes a little bit shorter, I guess, or smaller, but I struggled with that, full transparency here. And so I just wanted to make do with this. But again, I love that easy breezy, flowy, it's blousy when I put it on. I love it. This is one of my new favorite pieces. I am so excited to wear it. Again, this is a Very Easy Very Vogue pattern, 9242. It was originally $4.50. That's so cute. I love it. And I say originally, I think I got it for 99 cents, just FYI. Okay, so also, side note, I apologize if the lighting is strange in this video. I am filming first thing in the morning, so I'm getting all of that morning light right now, so it kind of looks odd, but we're gonna roll with it. This one may blind you because it's a white dress, but I found this beautiful fabric, again, at my local fabric store. Isn't that just divine? I love this lightweight, it's kind of a cotton blend, but it's got the raised edges, I guess you could say, raised material. To me, it's a, well, and I'll tell you what it is. It's a shift dress. It is a traditional, just easy peasy, simple, throw on and go shift dress. Imagine how just convenient this will be in those super hot months that I'm sure are going to come up. But let's take it back to the 60s, because you know that's where I like to live when it comes with sewing. I saw this, I believe I got it on simplicity.com, immediately added to my cart, because who doesn't love a quick shift dress? And this was super easy to sew. Again, rated very easy. I would highly agree with that. There's just two pieces. You have, oh, and I'm showing you the back. This is the front, okay? All you have to do is sew in the side dart. Then, and the instructions are so straightforward. One of my favorite pieces, you add the slit. You can modify this so much. You could make a maxi dress. You could raise that slit as high as you want it to go. You could even make it smaller. I was able to measure and find where I liked it to lay on me, but I would highly recommend this pattern. I think it would probably work best on, you know, kind of a, and that lighting is making this look funky. I think it would probably work best on a cotton, maybe even a cotton sateen. I think that would be super cute. So I am for sure, and I'll grab it again. This is McCall's 8402. Oh, and I don't even think I told you, I made view C. I think that this would be just a great staple pattern to have in your collection, especially if you love a cute shift dress. Probably took me maybe an hour and a half to whip this up, and it's all, you know, of course, just all rolled hems. I did my, you know, French seams on this one. Even doing those things, it really was an hour and a half or so. Keep your iron nearby, keep pressing those garments, make them look nice and tidy and professional, but it was straightforward. They give you a nice little interfacing, which I did choose to use. A lot of times I'll omit that. I believe it's the interfacing, the facing, maybe that's it. I will omit that, but this time I left it. I'm glad I did, because with this material, it needed just a little bit of something. So here we go. Highly, highly recommend. If you are a lady who loves, or a person who loves to lounge, this pattern is for you. And who doesn't need to lounge around from time to time, or have a cute loungewear set just to wear to take the dog out, or run up to the grocery store, or wherever you want to go. So This was a McCall's pattern. I believe I showed this to you forever ago in a pattern haul, but this is McCall's 8351. Super cute, super fun to sew. I've used it a couple times. I did a trial run with it. The trial run was totally unnecessary because it is very easy to work with. It's rated average. I would definitely say it's probably easy, honestly, but highly, highly recommend. It's got the, you know, tapered bottom, the tapered sleeves. You can do it with a hood, without a hood. I chose to do it without a hood. It has batwing sleeves, which is a fun stylistic detail. But let me show you what I ended up making. I'll show you the top first. Okay, so we've got the very cute, first of all, don't you love this tie-dye? I showed this to you forever ago as well, I believe, in a fabric haul. I got this from Joann Fabrics a long time ago, but I sewed this up, honestly, about 6 months ago. I wear it all the time, so it's gotten a lot of love. I put in, I believe the pattern does call for it to be tapered around the bottom. I added wide elastic, made it so that it's not super tight, obviously, because it's loungewear, and put elastic around the sleeves. It is more of a 3/4 sleeve shirt, so that's something just to keep in mind if you want this to be fully long sleeve. I thought it would be very nice and transitional just to have it 3/4 sleeve. Plus, I do a lot of cooking. Sometimes on the weekend I'll bake, you know, if I get a wild hair, some banana nut bread or something like that. And so, you know, when you're in the kitchen, you don't want your sleeves to be all in the way. I just wanted it to be really easy to do whatever you want to. I do some painting and things like that. So I wanted to be able to wear this and not feel constricted or like I had those big blousey sleeves. But the batwing kind of takes care of that because it gives you some volume, but it's more so on the armpit area, so it's not going to be in your way when you're doing stuff. So this, again, this was the finished sweatshirt. Then, and this if they still have this material from Joann, I would highly recommend. Now, like I said, this has been pre-loved, but it has the softest, most delectable inside, and it's not super thick material. It is, I'd say, fairly lightweight, but these are the breeches. I made some modifications just by adding my double layer of elastic instead of one big piece of elastic around it. And originally, if I'm being honest, I had put elastic around the bottom just to kind of really keep it tapered. It was not comfortable to me. I don't know if I made the elastic too small. I ended up removing that elastic, and then now I just leave it so that it's a nice wide cuff. They're very comfy, very cozy, and I just love a matching set. All right, this video is already starting to get longer than my first one. Last but not least, I actually have another piece I just made, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna do a whole separate video on that because it's a semi-formal dress that I recently made. It's the first kind of real semi-formal dress that I've made that I'm actually wearing to an event. So I'm gonna make a whole video on that one. But just for funsies, we'll say, I found this amazing vintage floor length, on me it was floor length, thin corduroy jacket, and I transformed it into the cutest little, to me it's the cutest little retro skirt. It was very easy pattern to work with. Let me show you what it is. I've shown it to you before. My dog chewed it, so you get to see his work right here, but he left the tissue paper intact, which was just so considerate of him. But this is New Look 6106. I believe that I did view A, and I omitted the pockets. I just didn't want any added bulk. Plus, you know, I honestly just wanted to work with the material that I had, and just whipped up this little piece. I wanted, you know, the embroidered piece to be on the one side, and this is just, you know, there's a little back zipper, very easy breezy. You know, you add your darts in the back for some structure. but I'm super happy with it. I could even see this with, you know, like a chunky sweater and knee-high boots in the fall or winter. At this point, you know, we're kind of transitioning really into spring, so the options to wear this are kind of limited because it definitely is that fall look, but I wanted to just add it in here for today just to show you how, and you know probably watching, but how fun it is to upcycle clothing. And when I bought that long corduroy jacket, I think from Goodwill, and I brought it home, my husband was like, what is that? But little did he know my plans for morphing it into this cute little number. I still have some fabric left from that, so we'll see what happens. But as a final note, I've made this skirt several times. This is probably just a staple pattern that if you are a skirt wearer, to grab and put in your stash, in your not your fabric stash, in your pattern stash, because you can use this and modify it so easily. It is a super easy pattern to work with, especially if you omit the pockets, then you're really just dealing with two pieces, the front and the back. You can take it in as much as you want to on the sides. You could widen it. It's just a great one. Again, that's new look 6106. Well, that's all I have for right now. I will look forward to being back in the next week or so. I've got my pattern haul that I really want to share with you. I might even throw in a couple more pieces of fabric that I found at my super cute local fabric store just to show you and talk about some sewing plans. But in the meantime, I hope you are doing great. I hope you're taking really good care of yourself. There are some stressful things going on in the world, and so I hope that you are just being kind to your mind, to your body, all the above, and making time to create and sew. With all that being said, happy creating and be well.